right, well, this is Aaron Squire coming to you guys again. We've got episode 111, and we're calling this one So Random. And we've got Jen, or what is it? It's Random. What is it?
In society.
Random in Society.
Call me
And
random or Jen. Either way.
Random Jen. Random Jen. Random
Random Jen.
Generation. See, now it's not that you have another one we can go with.
Yes.
But
I know.
tonight in the show, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got the gems to talk about, the all-new gems that were just dropped, I believe, today. We've got, of course, Random in Society's here, so we're going to talk about the kind of content she does. And if you aren't following her, you're going to have to make sure to get over there, and she'll tell you how to do that. So we've got the Cosmic Showdown to talk about. We've got a couple of new Set 5 cards that we're going to talk about, and we're going to throw down, because she's here and she's random, we're going to throw down some sort of random deck with lots of random stuff in it.
That's
So
right.
that's going to be really fun. So first things first, though, before it is we get too into the thick of it, let's go ahead and do the YouTube giveaway. So I pull out my wonderful Gen Con dice, and it looks like we only had, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So I'll just roll my D6 here, and it looks like number 2, and that would be Steven Minerick. He gets a free draft.
Congratulations.
Free draft. Get me your IGN. And one more person will get a free playset of, the third person down was the Stephen Bolts. Free. He gets a free playset of, what is it? Spectral Acorns.
Ooh, nice.
I actually have not even used my Spectral Acorns yet. I just keep giving them away to people because I generate so many. I don't have time to like play the auction house or do any of that stuff. But let's
I've
start.
used one.
You've used
so
one?
far.
Like actually used it?
Just actually used it, yes.
Yeah, wow.
So now I
How
have
did that
7
feel?
left.
Was that kind of like a cringy moment where you're like, oh, I can win this game, but type of
Yeah.
thing? Or
Yeah.
So let's talk about you, Random.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. Appreciate you
Thanks.
coming on. You are actually the second female to come on the show, and I would venture to say you're the most regular Hex streamer that is female. So that's just one more reason for people to follow you.
That's right.
So, how did you find out about Hex, and what really got you come over here instead of like playing some of those other games?
Well, ever since I was in middle school, used to play Magic the Gathering,
Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching Twitch. I found out about Twitch, and then it was in like the recommended games, and I started watching it, and Hex streamers, and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. So I downloaded the game, and I've been addicted ever since.
Right.
I've been playing for about 4 months now.
Right. What got you most sold on it, do you think, on playing Hex?
The complexity of it,
Right. So like the gems and that sort of thing.
the gems, and the way the cards work together, and how
Right.
you just by just changing things up, like with gem wise, that
Oh, we're
entirely
gonna be
different.
changing some stuff up tonight, that's for sure.
I know, right?
So what kind of background do you have? You said you played some Magic back when you were in grade school and that sort of thing, or did you have any
Yeah.
other card game background?
No, just
No,
Magic.
just some Magic here and there. Yeah,
Played in some Friday Night Magics and stuff like that.
sure, sure. And not just as like arm candy, right? Like you
No,
actually
not
came
as
in to
kind. I
play.
actually came
You
to
came
play.
to play, throw down.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard everything. I've heard, is that your boyfriend's deck? And I'm like, no, it's mine.
Let's find out. That's
Yes,
the
that's right.
response. That's the response. Let's find out, shall we? So yeah, I've been beaten by many a girl in Magic tournaments, like high end ones too. And yeah, it's one of those things you're just like, yep, yeah, I got beat. It is what it is.
Yep.
So let's see, what kind of content are you going to focus on with your channel?
Um, Mostly Hex. I'm really in love with that game right now. I plan on maybe streaming some other types of games, but I'm
Mhm.
gonna primarily do Hex.
So like anything specific with Hex? So like, are you going to do like drafts? Or are you going to do competitive play?
Constructed.
Ladder, constructed.
Constructed competitive.
Yeah. Okay, so that way people know what they're in for when they subscribe to you, and you all should.
Yeah.
Just saying. So that's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and head over to talk about some of the news here. So we've all been waiting for this. there was, it's been 2 weeks. I was at Gen Con. I hope you guys were watching. I had, a couple of things I tweeted out there where, it was probably the best one I've had that I worked. But we've got a ton of gems to talk about. So many that we may not actually get to any other news items here. So
It's
let's
pretty
just start.
exciting.
It is exciting. So let's go ahead and just head right on down the line. So the first one is the Major Blood Orb of Sacrifice. It says when this enters play, you may sacrifice a troop. If you do, it gets +3/+3, like permanently. It's going to get +3 front end and back end, and you need to have just one single blood threshold in play to get it to work. I think this is a great card. It definitely does things in the flavor of blood. It's going to be able to buff things, like if you have Inquisitors will now be able to buff Inquisitors, and then they'll come back as 6/3s or 6/4s. What would that? No, yeah, 6/4. They would come back as a 6/4. Lots of cool stuff, and then you of course have the Blood Bunny, the minion of Yakuzan, I believe, that you can sacrifice to this. So it definitely does a lot of things that we've seen in Blood. How do you feel about this, Random?
I like it. I love a card I have in my Shinhair deck called Profane Ritualist, and I think that card would be good comboed with a card that takes a gem with the Major Blood's Orb of Sacrifice, because that'd be pretty cool too. Because you have like all the major power.
Right.
You have like the major guy that you have the gem on, and then you have the other one. By the time you get the other guy out, he's going to be pretty much buffed up.
Right.
So
the next
swing
one
for 20.
The next one is the Major Blood of the Underworld. Now, this is also a single blood threshold is all you need to get this off. And it says when this attacks, and I believe that this icon is unique troops. So someone correct me if I'm wrong about that. But I believe it's unique troops you control get +1/+1 and lethal this turn. Seems a little less powerful. I don't really think that this is going to see a lot of play. But we have to have both sides of the spectrum, because in card games like this, of course, you have to have really good cards, and then you also have to have really kind of bad cards. And so I feel like this is kind of like on the other end of the spectrum. It'll probably see a little bit of play, but not as much as the last one we just previewed, Jen.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, they're all like you said, all card games have their
Right.
best ones,
Right.
awful ones.
Right, and that's
Why
what
not
makes
gems?
I mean, even gems, like we've seen that as well. Next one we've got is the Minor Blood Orb of Intimidation. You only for all of these so far, we only need a single blood, which is very interesting considering the last round of gems, the only round of gems. We had doubles and then singles, but this one says this can't be blocked by troops with less power than this troop's power. So this is, of course, giving evasion to blood, something it didn't really have access to before. It feels like something that we would have seen more in Ruby, but it's interesting that they gave it to blood. I can definitely see this scene play, especially in limited formats. How do you feel about this one, Jen?
Actually, I think that's my favorite one out of all the muted blood ones.
This is your favorite blood one? I was going to say out of all of them. I was like,
No, out of all the blood ones.
Out of all the blood ones is your favorite one because it lets you, keep going face.
Yep.
Yeah. Next one, and final one, is the Minor Blood Orb of Frenzy. It says speed in all zones. It's another gem which I feel like is more in the Ruby side of things as far as the speed, because I believe that's what we had in Ruby. So it's interesting to see some of the keyword abilities that may not have seen a lot of play kind of get swapped over to another area, just another gem. If we went from Ruby to Blood with this one. So really not a lot to say about this. You're going to throw it in decks. You want to be hyper aggressive and then just go face really quick and finish the game out quickly. Maybe some sort of orc deck, or maybe this is what they wanted orc decks to do before and they just didn't have access to things like this. But it seems all right, but nothing too crazy. So how do you think of that? What do you think, Jen?
That's good. I mean, Blood tends to be an aggressive type deck. If you look at Yodel,
right,
and
it can be.
I know Yodel's not going to be around probably much longer, but it'd be good. Give all your blood troops speed, that the ones that have that ability. So it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. BKYD is saying this might be a go-to for Shinhair. I mean, again, like I believe this is unique. This icon is for unique. So again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's like your unique troops, like how many unique troops are we gonna have in that deck? Like
Right.
Hernas. Um, that's maybe. I mean, people used to play Argus and Monsoon. I can't think of any others. Yeah, maybe Kagalichu. Moving on, we got the Diamond, Major Diamond of Hope. This one says, again, I guess for the rest of these, you just know that it's a single threshold. When you draw this, it gets the troop gets -2 cost this turn, and so Jen and I were talking about this before, and it just feels like something where we want to play a lot of kind of like Diamond Weenie decks, and we haven't seen a lot of that in the format. We've seen what is it, William Rowan make a little bit of an impact in the format, but something like this could definitely help something like that along, so it gives your opponent more targets they have to deal with. Yeah, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be nice to see changes in the meta. That's what I'm looking forward to. New new things, may not the same two decks always, all the time.
Sure.
I kind of like that.
Well, there's like 4 or 5, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Next one, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I believe that this is the unique one for this one. It says Major Diamond of the Ardent. When this attacks, ready each unique troop you control. Unique troops you control get +1/+1/+1 strength and +1 toughness this turn. Seems fairly weak to me. Probably in humans, where you have Diamond, Sapphire, and was it Ruby? Like that's where you get the most playable uniques that you have. But even then, like giving them +1/+1 for the turn, it seems like maybe that's a little bit not enough. Jen, what do you feel about this one? Do you like
yeah,
it?
I feel like I like it, but I think they nerfed it. I think that it probably would have had more impact if it kept the +1/+1
Yeah,
permanently, considering it was a major
it's not
gem.
unique.
But
What is it?
no, it's just like, well, you get it this turn, and it's not really going to do much. I don't think.
Oh, that's Ardent troops.
Oh, ardent
Oh,
troops.
that's
Okay.
what they're saying.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
I guess that could be. Yeah.
Okay, now that's something. Okay, well,
Yeah, now that's going to be more.
this
Yeah.
one's Ardent Troops. Is the other one unique? Is that it? Because it's like the same icon, or like I think it's no, it's a different icon, isn't it? It's really hard to tell because I can't really click on these icons and tell what they are. So I guess that one's red and this one's kind of a yellow. So
I
yeah,
bet the orange one is for the dreadling one. Was the orange color?
okay. Well,
Maybe.
then that makes it better, but
Yeah, that makes
still,
it a lot better.
it's still not that great. Like
No,
I,
but I mean,
yeah.
want it to
Ne
stack.
Next one is the Minor Diamond of Protection. It just gives it +2 toughness. That's it. +2 toughness. I don't know. In certain situations, this could be a good one to change out on your troops. Like if you feel like your opponent's going to have like Heat Wave or something that's going to do a lot of damage, and you just need that little bit of extra toughness to survive. Or if you're playing against a Ruby opponent in general, that +2 toughness might make a difference. Probably more so in limited than anywhere else, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this one either. Jen, do you like this one for any particular reason, or?
I think it can have its uses, but if I had to choose, I wouldn't probably choose that one unless I really
No.
felt it needed it.
And then the final one we've got is the Minor Diamond of Wind, which is funny because like this is kind of like doing what we did before, where we moved the speed over from Ruby to Blood. Now we've moved Flight kind of over to Diamond, where it says when it attacks, it gains Flight this turn. And so in that case, like if there was for some reason something that killed Flight troops, but it did it at basic action speed, you could never target the troop that had this gem in it because you wouldn't be able to use it on their turn. I believe that all the flight killers are quick action speed though, so I guess that's really a moot point. But this is probably one of the best ones. I personally, this is the one that I'm looking at putting in my Hierophant because it gives it that evasion, gives it that flight that a lot of people were doing anyways by going into Sapphire and using the champions to do that. Seems pretty good. Seems like a win-win-ish for me, and I'll still be able to play my life gain, I don't know, ramp deck that I've been
Right.
playing. So
Yeah,
over to
that's
you,
a good
Jen.
one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like. Yeah, I thought the same thing about when it attacks, it gets flight. I'm like, interesting, but they're going to change everything up, so might as well.
It gives it a little bit of a nuance, you know. I think that
Yeah,
that's important too. Yeah, especially because like on their turn, like let's say that they wanted to do something that hit everything that was flying, you know, then it doesn't hit it. So it's just one of those things. It's one more thing for you to keep track of.
right.
Now this one you like, Jen. Why don't you talk about this one? We've got the Major Ruby of Twin Strike deals double damage on in Ruby.
Yeah, when I saw this, I thought Hellhound. That's what popped into my head. That
Mm-hmm.
does double damage, and then if you put that in him, he's gonna do
Four
quadruple
times.
damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
you
lot
know,
of damage, and that could be you know, a lot of damage. I think that for me, I definitely would want to put this in something that has evasion or something like that. Of course, we won't have our Ruby damage gem anymore, so we couldn't like socket this with that because that would be
right.
stupid. Um, but yeah, I think it does some interesting stuff for the meta.
Yeah, I agree.
Next one. Now, this is probably one of my top three gems right here. This is the Major Ruby of Impulse because it does what? Draws us cards. It says when this attacks, draw a card. That card gets at the end of the turn. If this is in your hand, discard it this turn. And that seems to be a big Ruby thing that might end up being a Ruby keyword pretty soon because that seems to be, we've now seen it on a champion. We've got Impulse that does it. We now have a gem that does it. And so eventually this might become a keyword. For us, and we'll see it in Ruby, but we may see it other places as well. But this is one of the most exciting things I've seen. Of course, it could put you in bad situations too, or make you feel bad. But other than that, I think it's a great gem.
Yeah, especially for that card draw.
Yeah. Anything else to add there?
Um, I like the ruby ones, mostly all of them. Um,
Mostly all the Ruby
um,
ones.
yeah,
Partial to Ruby.
yeah,
So
true.
now, guys, if you were looking, now you know that's what she's partial to. There you go. The So the next one is the Minor Ruby of Zeal, and this was, of course, in Diamond. Just Swift Strike in all zones. It's funny that it says in all zones to me. Like we would need Swift Strike if it's in the grave, but yeah, that's yeah. I mean, it's Swift Strike. I don't know if there's very much else to add on to that, Jen.
Imagine pairing that with Swift Strike in all zones and does double damage.
Yeah, I mean that's helpful. Sure, sure. I mean, it does it on the Swift Strike thing. I mean, I thought about putting this in
Oh, with
the
Crush,
Hierophant as well,
Swift
just
Strike. Yeah.
because you get the Swift Strike and the flying, and yeah, maybe something like that. Next one is the Minor Ruby of Valor. It says when this enters play, create a Valor and put it into your hand. Now, I'm not sure what Valor is. Jen, do you know what Valor is? I don't know what.
Valor is one of the new keywords. Turn my head real quick.
I'm trying to remember what Valor. I don't. Someone in my chat will probably know what it is. So tell me what that is, and then I'll make a judgment call on it. But until then, I really don't know exactly what
Okay.
to think about
I have
this
it
here.
right in front of me.
Okay,
Uh,
what is it?
I just have to scroll up, and my laptop is being right now. Valors are basically target. It's an action,
Hmm.
basic action. Target troop gets +1/+1, and Valorous. Valorous on its own has no effects.
So like BKYD is saying it's basically bravery.
Yeah,
So create a Valor and put it into your hand. So you could basically buff anything you want to, and then you could do it again and again. Yeah, I don't have the chat bot thingy in here.
Hmm.
The card bot thingy, unfortunately.
worker bot. Worker bot's awesome.
Yeah, I had it for a while and then it left. It didn't
Hmm.
want to be around me anymore. A lot like
Aw.
some people.
Better.
It's okay though. Anyways, moving on. We've got the Major Sapphire of Sorcery. It says when this, and then we're in the Sapphire, of course, so you need the one single Sapphire to play this. When this enters play, create a random action with cost equal to or less than this card's cost. Then you meet the threshold requirements to play this and put it into your hand. So this just screams out to me Blood Sapphire control with Inquisitor, because that would be ridiculous.
Oh.
That's yeah, most of what I have to say about that. Like this seems like this would be crazy on Inquisitor to me. Jen, what did you think about when you saw this?
When I first saw it, I thought Prestidigitator. Like
Yeah,
that's what that card does.
it
That's
makes
what
it
I
feel
thought.
like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is definitely in my top three as well. Next one we've got is the Major Sapphire of Enfeeblement. When this attacks, target opposing troop gets minus power equal to this troop's power until the start of your next turn. This is actually somewhat playable. You could definitely see this happening in limited play, and even with a Hierophant. I mean, maybe you could try it. I don't know that it's the best gem to have in there, but it makes it so the Hierophant's easier to get damage through with, or other things, so that they just match up poorly against your troops when you're on the attack. So I'm okay with this one. Jen, did you like this one? Did you not
Yeah,
like
I
it?
do actually. Talking in the chat and seeing the chat that Tiger was talking about. He talked about putting it on Mad Robomancer. I was talking to him
Sure.
before I got on here with you, and we were talking about that. So yeah, it would be really good on Mad Robomancer.
Yeah.
Wing and
Next, we've got the Minor Sapphire of Wit. When you play an action, this gets +1/+1 this turn. This seems like the weak one in Sapphire to me. I mean, yes, there's probably a combo deck that uses this, and then they swing, and then and your opponent's like, I guess I won't block, and then you're like, actions, 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 and then you win.
yeah,
I don't know that we have that deck really right now, but I mean, that's all I can see this being powerful in, and I don't think we have enough stuff to make it happen right now. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I mean, I guess the reason why they keyword this turn as opposed
Right.
to just +1/+1 because it's a modern, but I think it has potential.
Yeah. Final one in Sapphire is the Minor Sapphire of Dread. It says basic one shot. Now, we had talked about one shots last week, and so it's interesting that we're seeing one on a gem this time. I actually talked to Dan about that at the convention. He said, yeah, we toyed around with it, and now here we're seeing it. So it says Sapphire and 2, create 2 Dreadlings and put them into play. And because you told me what these were, Jen, I'm going to let you tell the people out there what they are.
They're a Shroomkin, Spider, Robot,
And what else? And like
and
power and
they
toughness and
1/1, and at
mhm.
the end of your turn you sacrifice it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's cute. There's definitely something that might be able to do with that in the future. I don't see this as being super powerful, but I don't know. Could do some stuff. Could do some work maybe.
I'm surprised it's one shot,
Yeah, I mean if
considering
it
that you
wasn't
have
a
to
one shot, we
sacrifice.
would only make one a turn, I think, and it would probably cost 3. I think that
Yeah.
would balance that. But yeah, I think one shot, 2, make 2. Like they go into your crypt and then like they come back. Yeah, something you could bring them back with something maybe. I
Well,
don't know.
that's a good idea.
So this is my other top 3 cards. This one, which is the Major Wild Orb of Conjuration. It says when this enters play, so when the troop enters play, create a random troop with cost equal to or less than this card's cost that meets the threshold requirements to play it and put it into your hand. So yeah, obviously we're going to be throwing this on our Root Fathers in the future. Even though Root Father gets cheaper and so it gets less good, I think that this is going to see play on Root Father. Maybe we'll see it on something like, I don't know, we'll go back and play it on the Battle Beetle maybe, but more often than not, I can see this getting played on the Root Father. Jen, did you have anything you really like to see this on?
Like you said, the Root Father. I'll read
Yeah.
it whenever I don't own a Root Father yet. Right, Root Father yet,
Yeah.
but whenever one's used against me, I'm always like, oh no. So I'll probably
Yeah.
feel double the dread.
I mean, I guess you could see it on Inquisitor as well. It would work with that fairly well too, but yeah, definitely 2 ways to build for Inquisitor. Inquisitor's going to make a big comeback, which is great for the people that invested in it. It was a $2 card. Of course, it's going to get rotated out fairly soon once we see
Pretty sure in the auction
set 7, right?
house now it's done.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
climbing up there.
yeah, it probably is. I mean, it's a $2. It was a $2 rare for a while just because it had the AA for it. So this is in my top 5, I think. This is probably my 4th or 5th favorite gem. The Major Wild Orb of Cultivation. It says when this attacks, you get 1 permanent and 1 temporary resource. So, Jen, tell the people why this is so good.
Well, I mean, you could get. Well, we were talking about the Hellhound a while ago, and with the double damage and earlier before we went on air, we're talking about like how would you get him out?
Right.
Well, if you have something that like I'm gonna say Relic of Nuzon, he's a 3 cost, and I think he takes a major, doesn't he? I'm trying to think. I'm a little nervous. So
Probably Hierophant does for sure. I mean,
Hierophant.
you could definitely throw this on a Hierophant.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're such low cost that you can ramp up your resources, and you can get, say, if you're playing Ruby 2 and you have a Hellhound in your hand, and you have enough thresholds that you can get him out quicker,
right.
and then do quadruple damage.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that seems fairly like a fairly good plan.
Yeah, they were
And
talking about in Banks, in the chat, Cosmic Shaman and
yeah,
Eldritch Streamer, and
I think this is probably one of the, yeah, this is definitely very, very powerful. There's a very good chance that we may be getting rid of our, what is it called? Our 1/1 dork. Our, what is it called?
Howling Brave.
Howling Brave. Howling Brave may be going away, and so
When
this
you
might
see
be.
it, burn it. Unless you're playing it, then it's fine. But turn 3 Hierophant.
Yeah, yeah. If you can kill it, turn as soon as it gets played. That's usually the optimal choice. Uh, I did see that meme that you put through on your on Twitter. That was pretty
Yeah.
good. Next one, the minor wild orb of vigil. It says Skyguard and steadfast in all zones. I like this card because I feel like it gives versatility to wild, where you might have started with, you know, either the cultivation or the conjuration, but your opponent's like all flying or something, or especially in limited formats, you swap out for this, and that really helps your game plan out. And the steadfast doesn't hurt either. So I like this card. I wouldn't say it's one of the top cards. It feels like more of like a sideboard shard, or sideboard gem rather, not shard, gem. That's what I meant to say. So speaking of gems, Jen.
Yeah, I like it. I like that it has Skyguard because, before you have to play troops that have Skyguard, and like you said, be a good sideboard gem
Right.
because, sometimes you're not going to play people that have flying, against people that have flying troops, and you kind of like switch it out like that. But yeah, I like it. I like that it does 2 things. I like it's across all zones. Um, I think wild shards are my second favorite. In
What's
general,
your first favorite's the ruby?
Ruby. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Final gem is the Wild Orb of Brawn, and it says +1 front end and crush in all zones. And I was thinking, well, this would probably be an easy fit for Hierophant for me, just because I can get the crush in there, and then I can get the damage in, which gives me the Rhino, possibly. And so in some situations, that's great, because he does get chumped off a lot. And so even though now he's a lot more removable than he was before, at least now I can make it so he can just crush on over things and, be really frustrating in that way. Especially like in the limited sense against spiders, this is going to be a great one to side in. Again, this is another one that you're going to probably bring in and swap out after you're like, oh, I'm playing against spiders, so I need to be able to crush over all those little chump blockers. Oh, that's right. We don't have the Rhino anymore either.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never you
No
mind.
more
Then.
Rhino.
No more rhinos either.
What do
Yeah.
you think about since I'm looking on this page that you're looking at now and talking about the immortal format where the older gems will still be able to be
I
used
believe
there.
that no, I believe that the gems are for the immortal format. They're going to be gone, like as well.
Really?
That's what I was. That's what I thought was the plan. Like once the gems go, they're gone. Like from
Aw.
all formats, they won't be sticking around. So again, viewers, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, I believe that that's what's going on. Like the only thing that sticks around is the cards. And in fact, I did ask them about bringing Titania's back in some of the interviews that I did when I was at Gen Con,
Ooh.
and I will let you wait for me to bring those out on my YouTube channel sometime this next week.
Okay,
There's
awesome.
one.
I'll have to
There's
look
one
forward to
with
that.
yeah. There's one with Ryan Sutherland that I've got that I get to put out, and there'll be a new spoiler on there as well, which is pretty cool. So look for
Ooh.
that, all my YouTube people. So there's all the gems. We got like a minute to talk about other things. So just so you're aware, if you've been playing the ladder, all is not for naught. The top 64 players are going to get to play in the Cosmic Crown Showdown. It's going to be, was it August or September 10th and 11th, which means there's no possible way I could possibly do it because that's when my baby is due. But I encourage everyone else to come out that is doing that. So grind out those cosmic points to get up in there. Let's see what else we got. Banner breaks, Sea Festival. We didn't really. There's some pictures from Gen Con, so that was a lot of fun at the LAN.
Mhm.
Oh, here's the Valor thing. Okay, there's the Valor thing. We were just see if I had just read. I don't think we're gonna have time to go over the cards. We'll probably talk about some cards next week. Let's see. There was a campaign. There's a bunch of extra stuff they brought out for equipment for a bunch of the cards that has not been released yet. So they go over that here. Another new card called Satyr's Roost Bard. Another new card. Another new card that they based a. Now this one I like. So let's talk about this one for a quick second before we start to build the deck. Horrors of War. This is very interesting in the new set 5 Hero Fall. It's 1 and double X, and you need double blood threshold. It says each champion discards X cards, each champion sacrifices X troops, and each champion loses XX. So basically both your current threshold or your current resources and your other S resources. This is the first card since I don't remember. Like there's one card in Ruby that like dumps resources for 3. But it doesn't take care of threshold. Or it hasn't been anything that takes away threshold yet. But this is the first one that really goes after your resources, and that's something that I remember Corey saying he did not want to do too much of. But this is very interesting type of a card. So I think it's great. It definitely goes in the ramp decks. You ramp up into it. You hopefully have more resources than your opponent, and you play this, and now you kind of reset the game. Hopefully.
Right.
Jen, what do you think about this?
Maybe it's their answer to extinction when extinction
Well,
rotated out.
it's in blood, so it's already.
Yeah.
I mean, you have extinction plus this.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, you like it also deals with spell shielded Hierophant. Not that
Yeah.
that matters because as soon as Hero Fall comes out, we'll get the new gems as well. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like there was not enough sacrifice effects. And then finally, for all the people that are trying to do things on a budget, like I know Jen, you are,
Yes.
we've got the Yotool article here as well. So make sure you check that out. That one's on August 11th. If you go to the main Hex website, hexccg.com, you'll find that. And there's only in the main deck 5 rares in here, and you don't necessarily need those rares. You've got Crackling Vortex, and you've got Quash Ridge Rubble. Now, out of all of those rares, if you had to buy rares for this deck and you're actually going to go out of your way to get them, my suggestion to you is get Crackling Vortex. And the reason why is because Crackling Vortex plus your champion power plus, where is he? Plus Arena Regular is 10 damage possibly on one
Right.
turn.
Right.
The way it works is the Arena Regular does 1 point of damage for every charge you gain, and then the Crackling Vortex gives you 2 charges, so that's already 2 damage, right? For those charges. But then you use Yotool, and then it goes to 4 damage for each one of those, and then you swing for 2. Maybe it's only 6. I thought it was 10. Maybe I did my math wrong. Let's see. He deals 1 for each charge. So maybe it's only 6, but still, that's a fair swing in one
Yeah.
turn. What was
That's
that?
pretty good.
2, 3, 4. You activate your ability. It does 1 for each charge. Yeah, so that's only 4. But still, that's pretty good. So that's
Yeah.
what I would suggest. And then most of your other rares are on the reserves, but that's like as per your own selection type of thing. And there's lots of different things you could do here. Probably Ember Spire, which is probably the most important one I can see on the reserves. Just because if your opponent starts healing, like my deck does, then that's a big problem for Yotool. Like it is for any aggro deck. So with that, we've got 30 minutes to build out the decks, and we said we were going to do lots of random stuff. I guess
Right.
we can play with PvE cards then too.
Okay.
We have a bunch of shroom stuff. I also have a bunch of mushroom caps and parties and freaky funguses to if people want those things. I'm not sure if people are really into that shroom stuff, but I've got it. Let's see. Zakiir's a fun random one. We got Izumi's fun and random. Storm of the Century I won't do just because people have a hard time getting a hold of it. Dark Spire is already a deck. Zakir's Frenzy is fairly fun.
That's actually one of my favorite cards. Like Gears
Zakir's
Frenzy.
Frenzy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's definitely go for that one then. Yeah, I considered trying to build it out in a Diamond Ruby deck.
I have
We'll,
Zakiir's
we'll
Frenzy in my Yodel deck.
we'll try to keep this kind of cheap, so I won't play Reese in here because I
Okay.
know Reese is still fairly expensive.
They're saying in the chat that the gems will stay in Immortal format. So there's
Oh,
quite a
well then
few
I'm
people that
wrong.
said that.
Okay, thank you for that correction. Correction. Let's see.
They just unload like so much information at one time. It's just hard to,
Yeah, to
it's like,
parse through. I don't even
here's all these
like
cards and here's
yeah. If you say things to me and I don't see it, I'm really sorry because like I'm doing like 17,000 things at once here.
Yeah, I know.
So I know
You're quite a
sometimes I
busy
get in a
person.
chat. Sometimes I get in a chat and like I'm like, why isn't this person paying attention to me? I'm important. Zombie Plague. So probably what we're looking at is that one. Maybe Armies of Myth. Sting Shot Snipers is good.
Yes, I
But
like
that
that
one's a
card
little bit
too.
more expensive. Prestidigitator is one of your favorites. We can definitely
Hmm.
go with that. What is this Shroom Swarm? Is this the one of the new cards? Create 1 of 5 Shroom Pin at random and put them into play. That puts us in another shard, and then you got Shroom Party. Maybe we should just build something with all these shrooms. Got a bunch of
Yeah, I bet
shrooms
there's a lot of people that have like a lot of these cards right now
from the thing.
from
I
yeah.
won't do Sheesmith because I know he's expensive.
I lucked out and got one in
I
auction
know
house
you're
dirt
so
cheap.
stoked about it. I have to look to see because I try to help out my people and too. So I'll have to see if I have anything like that for you after the show's over. Lyrical Chanter is fairly random, but we'll see. We'll think about it. I already built a Chanter deck actually, so let's go ahead and not do that one. In Diamond with the other Chanter deck, we've got Zigmund's game, but we need to play a lot of dudes for that to make sense. That kind of already sees play as well. Holiday could be interesting. That's most of it. Okay. Oh, and Professor Sporzin. Now, I opened 38 packs now, and I've got 2 of these. And I
Oh,
have
he's hard to find, I hear.
none of the
So
Chronics. So I don't know if people have this one or not. Let's see. Create a random Shroomkin, put it into play. I mean, having 2 of these is fine. So maybe if we just played 2 or 1, if you only have 1 or none, it's fine. We're just making a random deck anyway. So let's see what we can put together here with what we've got so far. All right, so we've got Prestidigitator, we've got Professor Sporzin, who's in 3 different shards. So we're already playing Uzzu if we play this guy, because we need Wild, Sapphire, and Blood. And if we decide to play Zakir's Frenzy, that puts us in Ruby. So
imagine all the crazy actions he's gonna
yeah, I am imagining
out.
it. I mean, I guess so. We just play Uzzu, and I mean, this is basically a PVE deck at this point. Just so everyone's aware, this is the fun PVE deck week, kind of a week. If you want something that's more competitive, the meta is pretty good right now as far as how set it is. I don't know that there's a lot.
Sorry Flip says that Shroom Swarm is
Shroom
the
Swarm?
orange. Yeah, the Shroom Swarm. The orange icons means it's AI only, so that it's actually a card that
Oh.
it creates.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, that's one less Shroom card. I have to look at the. I mean, we'll even put equipment on this thing. I'll even put some equipment on it. I haven't put equipment on a deck in a while. A long time. Let's see. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and just go for Uzzu.
That's what I usually do when
It's a
I
good
play
call.
something more than 2 colors. Is
Yeah.
Uzzu.
Yeah, just Uzzu it up, right? It's gonna be sad. This is gonna be the most sad thing. Like when this guy goes away, like people are gonna be like, I don't know how to sealed. How do I sealed anymore? How do I sealed without you? Uzzu, the Bonewalker. That's what people will be singing. There'll
Yep.
be a whole like thing about it. I don't have time. Someone else do that for me. Shroom. Maybe we just let's see a bunch of Freaky Fungus. Let's see Freaky Fungus. I guess we can throw this guy in there. People probably have him. Shroom Party. This is another one people are... Okay, we already got that one. Mushroom Cap. That one's not on here. Is that a piece of equipment, probably? It's probably a piece of equipment. There's the Death Cap. That's a mushroom. Opposing champion, the champion loses a charge. I mean, that's a fairly decently powerful PvE card, and we are in blood.
Right.
I mean, at this point, we just kind of like throw some removal in there. Let's see. I'm looking at my thing. I guess the rest of the stuff is, yeah, Silo Bin Slippers sounds like Silocobin Slippers? I don't know how to pronounce that. And then Professor Sash. Both those things sound like equipment, so those are not things that we can use. But if you have those things, you can use them. So like this has... Yeah, like these slippers. Like I have those I can give away. Shroom parties have sacrifice a shroomkin, add a party counter to this, and sacrifice a shroomkin, remove a party counter from this. So you can just keep it going. So the big thing with Shroom Party, and you can't really read it very well, it says at the end of your turn add a party counter to this. If there are 5 or more, then sacrifice it. When the champion draws a card, the drawn card is one of the following at random. Cost -1 for each party counter on this, or cost +1 for each party counter on this. When the champion draws a card, if there's 3 or more party counters on this, transform the drawn card into a random card of the same shard. So you could basically just transform your opponent's cards in their deck into things they don't want. So we can like also throw the thing on here, so we can just make it so we never get rid of this. We can just sacrifice Shroomkin when we don't want to get rid of it.
Cat on Fire said that he hasn't tried Shroom Party with legendary equipment, but Freaky plus Hideous Conversion and Gallows Ghast. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, you were really on the... A lot of people are on the conversion train. Seems like, you know, so this is an old... Well, I thought it was an old set 1 card. Huh. Imagine that. That's a... Was that set 2? Set 1, set 2? I can't remember. Shards of Fate. No, this is a set 1 card. Totally a set 1 card. Yeah. That'll be rotating. But yeah, people are excited to combo this. Sacrifice a troop. So what are we sacrificing to it? Or where are we creating troops? How are we creating
We need something, maybe battle hoppers, or some Shinhair in here, make some battle hoppers, or...
Shroom Swarm? What's that? Swarm is the one we can't play because it is AI only.
What about Runs to the Litter? I think that gives you like 3 battle hoppers. It's a quick action, I believe.
Yeah, it does. I'm just like, what else do we use them for?
Blow caps. That's a good idea. Someone, sorry, Flip said blow caps. Or Freaky with equipment. Y'all have such great ideas.
Lethal when this dies, create a shroom pin, put it in a... Okay, this one's fair. Yeah, and I have that. And I'll be giving away... Like, if people want that equipment, I have it to give away.
And the Professor Sporzin create too, so that's another way to get it.
Oh, he makes 2? He just makes dudes?
Yeah, tap, pay 2, tap, makes a random.
Create a random one. Yeah, okay. So let's see what other kind of shroomkin we can put in. This is like random shroomkin deck, basically. We could play Green Paw, but that's kind of an expensive card for people to get a hold of. Trufflehead's another one. Man, this is like my favorite spoiled card right now still from the show. And then I got to spoil that one. It's one of my favorites. Fungus Amongus. Put 4 troops in your crypt into the deck. Create a shroom pin for. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. That'll work. Okay, and then we probably just need some removal, some general removal. So probably just some kills or things.
I like reap. I like kill.
Yeah, kill and reap. We'll put in the AA version because we're cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what those are going for these days.
No clue.
Alright, so we're 42 cards. We've got the Zakiir's Frenzy really at the top of our curve, and there's really no 4-drops, so I'm going to go ahead and take those down to 2, no problems. The Reaps will take down to 2 because their basic action speed, the kill, will take down to 3.
Okay.
And we're at 37. That was easy. Look at that. This is like the easy button right there. So this should be interesting more than anything else, I would say. Is it going to win a lot of games? No, but it's going to do some random stuff. I'm not sure even, like, what are we using Hideous? Are we going off with something with Hideous Conversion, or why is this here? You know what I'm saying? Like, before, like, this works really great with your Darkspire stuff, because then you can do things with Darkspire, like shuffle them into the deck, and then when you play it, it plays 8 of them, and what is it called? You can do that. But I don't know that Hideous Conversion does any work for us here.
Well, he makes sack a troop gain.
We get a temporary resource.
Yeah, temporary resource. So
if anything, we play 2 of them.
Yeah.
Not
Sorry,
4.
Flip was talking about Shroomshaw as a shroom that also creates battle hoppers. Stuff to.
Shroom Tank, Honeycap. Honeycap's a classic from back in the day. Can't play him in here because we have too many other thresholds, but oh yeah, Shroomshaw does some work as well. Even Bloatcap does a fair bit of work. I'd say like Bloatcap is probably a pick 6 or pick 7 when you're talking about you know, your limited play. He does some work. Yeah, I think I'd rather play the Shroomshaw than some of this other stuff that we've got. Some, like, I'm just not seeing why we're playing Hideous Conversion right now. Like, I need this to like be comboed with something else, and then either put our opponent at a ridiculous disadvantage or win. One of those two things, and it's not doing that right now. Like some sort of X card, like maybe that was a stretch. If we were playing, was it Deal X? From set 1. I don't even have it. What's it called? Basically it's in blood and it deals X damage. And I'm forgetting what it's called all of a sudden. There's probably a better way to search this.
They were saying in the chat that
Siphon.
Life Siphon.
Yeah, Life Siphon is a stretch, and it will work. I remember when people like main deck for Life Siphon. Back in when that's, you know, when there was like counters were really light in the format, and that's, yeah, you could just like Life Siphon to win. Maybe a Life Siphon. Maybe. If you're gonna play Hideous Conversion like that, like you could play Life Siphon and maybe do something with it where you sacrifice a lot of dudes and then Life Siphon for the win. I don't see that happening very often though. I think it's more interesting just to play the more Zakiir's Frenzy, honestly, in this random deck if we're trying to do cool random stuff.
Right.
Like, Hideous Conversion just wants to be played in a combo deck, and so this is kind of where we get to a place where you got to make choices about what direction your deck is going to go. Like, where's the focus? And our
that's
focus
something
is
I'm
random.
learning to do much better, is to actually read the cards and kind of see how they combo and
yeah, make good decisions, you know?
Right. Can't
Like
go through there like I used to and be like, ooh, that's a nice card, let me put that in.
Right. Yeah, just toss that right in there. There you go. Why can't I play with this? You can't. You tell me why I can't play with this.
Yeah, that's about right.
It it definitely it comes down to a lot of like, you got to play the deck and then see what it does and then see how you like things and start making choices of like, oh, do I like this better? Do I like that better? How good are the matchups? When you're talking about serious competitive play. Of course, we're just talking about cool PvE stuff where we throw as
Right.
much equipment on here as possible. So,
Yeah, I want to be more competitive
yeah.
and awesome people that's in the chat right now has helped me out and stuff like that um and I'm learning a lot from them. So thanks for all of them.
Yeah, they're definitely a good bunch of people in the community right now.
Oh yeah.
Very few bad eggs, honestly, and a lot of the ones that are like they seem to leave fairly quickly because they just get bored of trolling, I think.
Right.
So,
I've had a couple of run-ins on ladder from rude people, but not very many. So
well, once things get somewhat competitive in ladder, yeah, that's kind of understandable, and you'll see that from time to time. Like I talked about when I was on, I was like, I had a lot of people that get very angry when I play a Hierophant. They get very angry, and it's like, well, I mean, like, you have two choices with this card in the format. Either you play it or you learn how to deal with it, and so
right.
that's it. Like, you know, I'm sorry, I decided to play it, and that's really ruining your day right now, and you didn't prepare for it, so, or you
Right.
just don't have the card. And
Right.
even Grant the Infinite kind of like deals with Hierophant fairly well,
Oh.
somewhat. Just keeps eating all this stuff. He hasn't really seen a lot of play. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we really want to do with this deck right now. I mean, we could play a Zakiir in here, but he's got that triple threshold. Man, I miss playing Zakiir. I miss back when it was just, set 3 and I could slot a Zakiir in. And,
Hmm.
yeah. The triple threshold, though, that's a killer on him. I remember when we spoiled this card and it was much different. I think I still have the artwork for it and stuff. I mean, the artwork stayed the same, but the text on it changed. I guess we could have talked. We didn't really even play with any gem stuff. If we did, we could have gemmed in some of the new gems or talked about gemming them in there. Yeah, in Eternal formats, Spell Shield's still going to be a big deal. Until Sacrifice like starts picking up, I think. I
Yeah.
think it's definitely going to be a big deal. It's really hard to find things that are, you know, within range of people's budgets that are fun to play in PvE that'll be interesting. I think this deck's mostly just going to be that. It'll just be interesting.
Right. Like I said, this is a deck that's probably not going to win, but it's fun.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I almost want to ramp up a little bit just because we need to get the Zakir's Frenzy, and I don't know if there's a great way to do it. We probably just want to play Artifact or two. Probably just play like either Tears or you play the Ramp Artifact, which I forget the name of right now. Probably play one of those two.
I really like TCG Browser. That's one of my favorite sites about learning about the cards and things like that. I get kind of ideas and
Yeah,
that Hex meta.
it's really fast to use. I actually had the creator of this tool on the show. He's in,
Oh
I
wow.
will say, Romania. His name's
Wow.
Bogdan. That's his name. So yeah, I always encourage people to contribute. I think I did actually contribute this last year, maybe. But
Nice.
he's got a PayPal thing on here that you can
Oh,
do.
okay. Did not know that. I'll have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, I give him a couple bucks
Yeah,
or whatever.
because I use this site a lot, and
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a lot of other things. It's going to be interesting, like they say in the article, what's going to happen to Azure Fate Sorceress and what's going to happen to Hierophant. I think Azure Fate Sorceress probably takes the biggest hit from the gem swap, possibly. Let's see, what else? I'm not really seeing anything else. I don't even think this guy's in the game yet, this Knoll. That's from the Kickstarter, that image. Troop battles target opposing troop. Yeah, that's definitely from the Kickstarter. It's the old format for the cards. Random stuff. So random. Oh, you know what you didn't do? Tell the people how they can find you and where they can get your stuff while I'm just
All
aimlessly
right.
searching through cards.
Well, on Twitch, RandomInSociety, and it's just twitch.tv/RandomInSociety. Um, I try to stream about 2 to 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on trying to keep more of a schedule. I have issues in the family right now, so I don't stream as much as I'd like, but I'm hoping to start changing that. I'm also on Twitter, and if you go to my Twitch page, all the info is there, and you just click on it and it takes you directly there. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, and like I said, if you're not following her, you should, because she is the #1 female hex streamer, because she's the only one. But still, the #1. Still #1. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't dog it.
Yes, my streams are pretty random, Stewie.
Pretty awesome though. Like I stopped by. It was pretty enjoyable. I was entertained. Watching you smack down the noobs. All right, so let's go ahead.
Still a noob. What are you talking about?
Let's go ahead and throw some shards in here. So we'll do the deck analysis and draw test. So we've got, and the way I like to do this, without actually doing all of this, is something I learned a long time ago, which was we count up the icons. And so actually this is what it does on when you click on deck draw analysis. It actually counts up the icons. But if we didn't do that, we would say, like, we have 2 reaps, so that's 2 icons. Or if you have, where's one with 2? I don't even know if we have. Okay, so like if it had 2, let's say that there were 2 blood icons on this reap, then if we have 2 of them, then that's 4 icons. So on and so on. So then I use that to get myself a ratio, and it looks like we've got blood and wild about even, and then sapphire a little bit behind that, and then ruby behind that. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, so that gives you kind of a ratio. So this is kind of like a 1-to-1, and then you've got a little bit less, and then you get the ruby behind that. And of course we have 23 shards to spend here. So let's go ahead and just pull up shards. Type and resource. I can hear my wife yelling at the children. She's very angry at them right now. Okay, so we could go with Shards of Fate here. We definitely want some wild shards and some blood shards, because those are our high-end ones. We needed at least 1 ruby shard and sapphire. What did I say? Sapphire is, yeah, we need sapphire as well. So sapphire. Now for the people that are new to the game, probably the ones, I believe if you play the PvE campaign, you just get Shards of Fate, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can actually just slot those in, and then they should have enough to play everything. There, we've got 56, so we need 4 more cards. Like, so for new players, if you want to get competitive, probably one of the very first things you're going to want to do, even though we're going to have a rotation soon, and we aren't sure what the new shards are going to be, you're going to want to get all these uncommon dual shards. I'm not sure. It looks like they're going for 31 cents a piece, or almost 6,000, well, 5.5 thousand gold, which is maybe a little bit steep, but it's definitely worth it. It's well worth your time to get all of the dual shards, because they go into all your decks. And in fact, like when I used to play Magic, that was like one of the very first things I'd do, is I would go through and I would buy all of the shards, so that way I made sure if I wanted to play something and I had the cards to play it, I could actually do it and effectively actually cast the cards. I think that's something that new players definitely overlook. Havoc, are you following my friend RandomInSociety? You should, if you're not. Just saying.
He does. I think. Anyway.
So probably something like 2 ruby shards, 6 blood shards, 6 wild shards, 5 sapphire shards, and then the 4 shards of fate. And we have a nice rounded out deck. Now, if you actually had the money to buy some of these other shards, we would probably get the Blood Wild shard, the Blood Wild one, and let's see, we would probably play a playset of Blood Wild ones, and then I would probably play 2 Sapphire Wild and 2 Blood Sapphire ones. I'd probably play something like that, and then we could get rid of Shards of Fate, and then maybe go down 2 on here, 2 on here, and 1 on 2, 1. No, then that would be. Anyways, you would just play those shards. That's basically what you would do if you had those things. But we kind of wanted to build something that was going to be a little bit more economical. I believe the Zakiir's Frenzy is only like pennies. Basically, it's like less than, it's like 25 or 30 cents, 45 cents for that, and it's also 5,000. So, but if you're going to invest in something, my suggestion is don't invest in the rare of Zakiir's Frenzy. Invest in these shards. The shards are going to get you more mileage, especially if there's a chance they may actually get reprinted. And I kind of wonder what's going to be the very first card reprinted in Hex with a new image. That's an interesting question. That's one I should definitely ask next time I talk to a developer. Ask when do you think that will we see reprints, and what set will we see reprints in? Because I'm okay with reprints. Some people are just, oh, it's just another Landmore elf or whatever, but I'm okay with it. You can get a new image.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty much the show tonight. So tonight in Deck Build with Squire, we had RandomInSociety over here. And like I said before, if you aren't following her, you should go over. I believe it's RandomInSociety on Twitch, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep, and then it's also RandomInSociety on Twitter. She's already got 1,000 followers. Help her pass me up in 2 months after I've been doing this for 3 years. Do it. Get her way past where I am. She's doing a lot of work. She's doing a lot more streaming than I do, so get her past, push her up there because she needs our support. There's not a lot of female streamers out there for Hex, and so we really need to support her by also following her and interacting and that sort of thing. She came on. She was a good sport at the show. We talked about a lot of the new gems that are coming out. I think we got a good, wag at those. And then we built this deck. And I think that it's going to be fairly random and fairly awesome. And that was pretty much the show tonight. So, I already plugged your stuff for you. So until next time, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless your families. Trying to reach too much out there.
This is Jen. Be random.
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's
the first time I ever used that.
There you go. That's your phrase now.